That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he going to play again? When's he going to fight again? You know, you got to be able, if you can't put in seats, you're going to get fired. You know.
Fight. And I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's going to win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Game. So Israel Majamov says that if Terrence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson, after spending time training with Terrence Crawford, shared his perspective on the magnitude of facing Canelo Alvarez. Tyson stressed that beyond the physical preparation, the true battle lies in the mind. He explained that the pressure of an event this massive can break a fighter before the first punch is even thrown. For Tyson, the key for Crawford is staying calm, composed, and in control of his emotions. If Crawford can master the psychological side of the fight, Tyson believes he'll be able to showcase his skills fully and even make victory look far easier than many expect.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pimp with one hole up here.
You're sweating.
We will get you one.
You're sweating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm going to be sweating pretty hard there, too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, who knows Canelo's power firsthand from sharing the ring with him, has weighed in on the magnitude of a potential Canelo versus Terrence Crawford showdown. Khan acknowledges Canelo's greatness and unmatched experience at higher divisions, but he also highlights Crawford's real punching power, something that should not be overlooked. With Crawford bulking up and adjusting to the new weight, Khan believes he's becoming a stronger, more dangerous fighter than ever before. To him, this isn't a one-sided contest. Both men bring elite skill sets, and either could change the course of the fight with a single moment of brilliance. While Khan admires Canelo's proven dominance at the bigger weights, he cautions that Crawford's adaptability and proven ability to rise to challenges make this matchup anything but predictable.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was going to catch and shoot.
We're not catching and shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching and shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner, and I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit, probably.
He said, "All right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost around.
Whatever. Hello.
I ain't know around here. Chill out.
He don't even know around here. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast. The week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
Analysts have not shied away from pointing out the risks Crawford faces with age and weight. By the time this fight comes together, he'll be 38 years old, an age where the decline in speed, reflexes, and recovery becomes impossible to ignore. Yes, he looked sharp in his step up to 154 pounds against Israil Madrimov, but one fight is hardly proof that he can thrive against someone as seasoned in higher divisions as Canelo Alvarez. In boxing, age isn't just a number, it's a ticking clock that impacts every exchange, every reaction, every recovery between rounds. While Crawford's skills remain razor sharp, the question is whether his body can still match the demands of a battle at this level. For that reason, many are calling this not only the biggest test of his career technically, but also a defining challenge physically and mentally.
Being successful, September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terrence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israil Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terrence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terrence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terrence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terrence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terrence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israil Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israil Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his camp have been adamant about one thing: preparation. They've studied what went wrong for Jermell Charlo in his loss to Canelo and vowed not to repeat those mistakes. "I'm not Charlo," Crawford insists, pointing to his unique style, discipline, and ring IQ. His strategy isn't built on matching Canelo's raw strength, it's built on movement, precision, and smart pacing. The goal is clear: frustrate Canelo with defense, then punish him with counters. Training has been grueling, with conditioning drills and sparring sessions specifically designed to replicate Canelo's trademark power and relentless pressure.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terrence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's
Analysts have been quick to highlight the natural risks that come with moving up in weight. Speed and agility, the very traits that defined Crawford's style, can sometimes be compromised. Recent photos of Crawford looking noticeably bulkier have sparked debate online, though many caution that images can be deceptive with camera angles and lighting. Still, the concern lingers. At this stage of his career, will the added muscle slow him down? While extra size can bring more power, it often comes at the cost of endurance and flexibility.
Because the man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. The lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected trainers, has outright dismissed the notion that Crawford stands a real chance against Canelo. In his eyes, this matchup resembles a sparring session more than a true contest. Sanchez argues Crawford is simply too small, and that Canelo's natural size, strength, and experience at higher divisions give him a clear edge. While he acknowledges Crawford's greatness, Sanchez insists that in boxing, skill doesn't always outweigh physical realities.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower, and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri takes a different stance, pushing back against the level of hype surrounding this matchup. While fans and promoters have labeled it one of the biggest fights in boxing history, Algieri isn't convinced. He argues that although the fight is intriguing, it falls short of being the greatest ever. In his view, it doesn't compare to past legendary clashes where both fighters were evenly matched in their prime. Algieri cautions that the public may be exaggerating the drama, especially since Crawford is stepping into uncharted territory against a seasoned champion who has already proven himself at higher weight divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
This guy, he didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Do you want me to create a few different outrow variations so you can switch them up in your scripts instead of repeating the same line every time?